Tonight, there are more stunning revelations in recorded audio obtained by the New York Times. In these newly released tapes, we hear how the top Republican in the House, Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, feared people in his own caucus could incite violence against their fellow members in the days following the January 6th riots. The Times says the audio is from a January 10th, 2021 phone call that McCarthy held with other GOP House leaders about the fiery comments from some of Donald Trump's most vocal supporters.
The other thing that we have to do is these members on either whatever position you are, calling out other members, that stuff's got to stop. Tension is too high. The country is too crazy. I do not want to look back and think we caused something or we missed something and someone got hurt. I don't want to play politics with any of that.
McCarthy was especially worried about Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who slammed several fellow Republicans, including Liz Cheney, for criticizing Trump after the insurrection.
I just got something sent now about Newsmax, something Matt Gaetz said, where he's calling people's names out, saying an anti-Trump in this type of atmosphere. And some of the other places, this is serious stuff people are doing that has to stop.
And Louis' comments, too, a lot of members have said some real concerning things.
If I'm getting briefing, I'm going to get another one from the FBI tomorrow. This is serious.
It's potentially illegal, what he's doing.
Well, he's putting people in jeopardy, and he doesn't need to be doing this. We saw what people would do in the Capitol, and these people came prepared. It's rogue with everything else.
Serious bleep, potentially illegal. According to the Times, McCarthy also not happy with Alabama's Mo Brooks. You remember Brooks? He's the guy who wore body armor on January 6th, and he talked about American patriots taking down names and kicking ass. McCarthy implied what Brooks did was actually worse than Trump telling the crowd to fight like hell.
If you think the president deserves to be impeached for his comment, that's almost like he goes further than what the president said.
Now, the day after that phone call, McCarthy urged Republicans to dial back the rhetoric.
Later after this call, I'm going to get another briefing from the FBI. When we say a member's name, when we incite or we in our hearts, maybe we think we aren't doing it. This is not the moment in time to do it. Watch our words closely. Do not raise another member's name on a television. And I'm just warning you right now, don't do it.
Don't do it? I don't know about that, because tonight in a tweet, Matt Gaetz described the minority leader's calls as sniveling, and he accused McCarthy of disparaging Trump and the Republicans in Congress who fight for him. Not surprisingly, these tapes have also caught the attention of the January 6th committee chairman, Benny Thompson. McCarthy, of course, has refused the panel's request for an interview, but Thompson says he'll be asked yet again. Of course, McCarthy has made it abundantly clear he wants to be House Speaker should Republicans win the majority in November. Well, tonight, reporters asked if these new tapes would hurt his chances, and McCarthy gave a one-word answer: nope. With that, let's bring in our experts and find out what they think. Former Missouri Senator and MSNBC political analyst Claire McCaskill joins us. Michael Steele, former chairman of the Republican National Committee and former lieutenant governor of Maryland, and Tali Farhadian-Weinstein, former federal and state prosecutor here in New York. She clerked for Merrick Garland and Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. We've got a lot to cover. Claire, I have to go to you first, because it is not a surprise that this happened, but it is shocking to actually hear it. You were a member of Congress up until just a few years ago. Where does this rank on the totally crazy scale?
Listen, nothing in these tapes surprises me or shocks me. Not one word of it. It's a little shocking how inept McCarthy has been at lying about things he said. There for one brief shining moment when he actually had some courage to speak out against what Trump had caused on that fateful day. But nothing in the tape surprised me. I'll tell you what surprises me the most, and you referenced it today, frankly, Stephanie, in your Twitter feed, and that is they've got to be losing their minds over who's leaking these tapes. They've got a real problem within their caucus because there are clearly people who are very upset at the inability of Kevin McCarthy to do something about people who are going to white nationalist meetings, who are carrying loaded guns into airports just to get a cheap headline, and who are saying things that could get people hurt, who could get members of Congress hurt. He has no courage to do anything because his power is more important than his principles.
Then to that very point, Michael Steele, why has Kevin McCarthy needed to lie all of these months? What he said there on those tapes, all of it was totally rational. He's basically saying, guys, let's pull it together. Let's not attack one another. People could really get hurt here. An average American would say, yeah, all that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, but the reality for someone like Kevin McCarthy is that this goes to his power. It goes to what his end game is. His end game is to become speaker. So what he did was play two ends against the middle. One was Donald Trump. The other was his caucus. Everybody's, running around hair on fire saying, oh, Kevin lied to the New York Times. He lied when he said, I never told the president. Of course he didn't lie. He didn't lie about that. He didn't tell the president that he should step down. He had no intentions of ever telling the president he should step down. But what he told his caucus is something very different. And as for those leaks, the interesting thing about the leak is it goes back to what I said a year ago. There is no love inside that caucus to make Kevin McCarthy the next Speaker of the House. It's not just the Marjorie Taylor Greenes of the world. You're going to see a much more concerted effort. I mean, Fox News is just the tip of the yummy barrel for what you're about to see coming out about Kevin McCarthy over the next few months. So, and this idea that Donald Trump is going to be his boy in the end. Oh, okay. Bank on that crazy. So, Kevin understands at least that reality for himself, that he's playing a very dicey game with some people who are has less scruples than he does. And so he's just trying to box and parry and thrust and do all of those moves as much as he can, which is why, in one sense, he's not that worried, because his attitude is, well, who are you going to go to? Well, there's Scalise and there are others waiting in the wings for Kevin to do what Kevin did the last time he was up for Speaker, and that is to take Bigfoot, insert in small mouth, and just watch what happens.